Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going to my cheat sheet for today's MLB main slate for today on DraftKings. We have a nice 14 game slate on Friday. Friday usually always gives us a nice fun slate. And we do have a fun one. We have a good spend up option, then we have two good punt options as well. So it's going to allow us to spend up on bats. Then we always have that fun Yankees versus Red Sox game too, which was it the Red Sox absolutely went bonkers tonight, which I think most people were on the Yankees. So that was a fun game to watch if you were watching, especially if you had the Red Sox. They were pretty low owned. I know they were in cash, for good reason. Versus Tanaka, I would have rather have been on the Yankees side, but enough of that. It's not important to this video anyway. Just doing a little briefing of yesterday. So anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. We're almost at 1,200, so that's very awesome, and I appreciate all the support on here. I also appreciate all the support on Patreon as well. So that gets me into the next topic. If you want access to this cheat sheet, my pitching model with projections, hitting model with projections, and all that good stuff, and my Slack chat, and my daily write-ups, you can hit the link in the description below, and it will take you to my Patreon page. We have 75 members now, so I appreciate all the support on there. It hasn't been up that long, so you guys have been very awesome, and I appreciate you believing in me to give you as much value as I can on these sheets, which I put a lot of time in. A lot of time into these sheets. I'm updating MLB sheet all day. So yeah, if you want access to anything on Patreon, it's right here, and it's pretty simple. And then we got NFL when NFL is coming out soon. I'm very excited. It's almost August, which means football season is right around the corner. And then MLB, and then the all access for $20, which is actually what most of the members have chosen. So like I said, if you want access to all this, hit the link in the description below. It'll take you there, and I'd love to have you. Alright, so anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet now. So my favorite plays for tomorrow. So my favorite spend up is going to be Zack Greinke at 10,500. This is my preferred. I feel like I spelled preferred wrong. I think there's one F in there, but I don't think you guys are here for the spelling anyway, so we'll roll with it. So he's my preferred spend up option today as he gets to face off versus a Marlins team who's near bottom of the barrel in all categories versus right-handed pitching. They just got shut down by Ivan Nova, Ronaldo Lopez, and guys like that. So if they can do it, I would think Zack Greinke's able to do it too. And we're in pitcher-friendly park in Miami, so quite a lot to like about Zack Greinke. And the thing is, he's very affordable because we can use Jose Urquidy at 5K tomorrow. I just don't understand the pricing here. It makes no sense to me. He just got 34 points versus Texas last game, and he was 5,100. So then they dropped his price 100. I mean, it's not a big drop or anything, but they made him near min price for a starting pitcher. So I expect him to be chalk as a righty versus the Cardinals, although I will say the Cardinals have not been too shabby lately, especially versus righties. But I'm willing to take a shot at a guy that's 5K, and he flashed 34-point upside in his last start. Granted, it was versus a strikeout-happy Texas team, but the Cards are not that good versus righties. Although, I mean, recently they have been. But I'm willing to take a shot at 5K. He pretty much lets us do whatever we want with our lineups. He allows us to get an ace. And then he allows us to get a punt option with upside, which is really all we need. And he's pretty safe, too, because he does have a nice K rate. And actually, if we look at his numbers, so I would do a little quick freebie of this pitching model I have. So if we look at his numbers, it's not a huge sample size whatsoever. But he's been good. He's got where is he? Yeah, he's right here. Yeah, so if we look at his numbers, his ERA is actually sitting at 5.54. But we don't like to use the ERA because it's not a very good statistic. We like to look at xFIP, which is a much better statistic to use as where their ERA should actually be. So he's getting unlucky, and his xFIP is at 2.65, which is elite, which is actually the best on the slate. Granted, not a big sample size, but his strikeout rate sits at 30%. Granted, not a big sample size, but very, very good. 1.8% walk rate. He's not walking a lot of guys, and that's what we like to see out of young guys, because young guys can get in trouble, walk a lot of guys, get some damage done, but he's not doing that. So yeah, I mean, he has one of the best K, subtracting the walk rate ratios on the entire slate. It actually is the best. I'm saying it's not a big sample size, but it's what we have to work with. So he just makes a lot of sense to me. He's my preferred SP2 tomorrow, and we can pretty much do whatever we want with our lineups. If we want to get Yankees, if we want to get Angels, just pretty much whatever. So I do like Urquidy quite a lot, cash and GPP. And then if we want to get a little funky here, if Urquidy wasn't funky enough, we can go to Daniel Norris, 5,200. So I'm looking to punt SP2 today, and Norris is going to have lower ownership compared to Urquidy. It's for a good reason, though. He carries a lot more risk, in my opinion. Doesn't have a good strikeout rate, but the matchup is what we like. We like lefties versus Seattle. They strike out 26% of the time versus them because they've got quite a few good lefties on their team. Omar Narvaez, J.P. Crawford, Daniel Vogelbach, and I'm probably missing someone else. But those are the main parts, and yeah, it kind of neutralizes them as a lefty. And Norris is not not a very good pitcher, but I think he can have a decent start here. Maybe give up 3 runs, hopefully strike out 6 guys, and then I think you're looking at a pretty good spot. And then if Urquidy fails as chalk, you're looking pretty good. Although I'm saying I do prefer Urquidy quite a bit, but I don't mind Norris and GPPs at lower ownership. Then a catcher, we got Wilson Contreras, 4,900. He recently came off the IL, and he has smashed left-handed pitching this season with a 304 ISO and 474 WOBA. And we went the righties versus Gio Gonzalez, where he has some major splits, and the righties are really getting to him. Then Jason Castro, 3,900. He should get the nod versus the righty, and I believe it's Cease. I'm not sure. It might be CC. We'll call him Cease, though. He has hit righties very well this season with a 304 ISO and 374 WOBA, although I will say Cease has given up a little bit more power to righties, but these Twins lefties are much better hitters than he is a pitcher, so give me these Twins lefties and righties tomorrow, really. Then Mike Zunino at 2,600. If we need to punt, I'm not sure if we really need to with us using Urquidy, but if you do want to, and you want to just pretty much get Trout, Judge, Ohtani, all these big guys, I could see maybe punting catcher, and I don't mind Zunino versus Wags is back. I don't even know how to say it. It's not important though because he's not gonna have a good game, and he's been getting hit hard by righties, allowing a 304 ISO. And I do like these Rays as a stack. I will say he's the only Ray I have listed, but I don't mind them overall. It's hard to fit all the guys I like in 3 spots. I like to keep this cheat sheet 3 spots per position, but the Rays are a pretty interesting stack. Choi, Meadows, those kind of guys. And then at first base, we got Freddie Freeman. So free money Freddie. I don't play him a lot, and because he seems to be overpriced to me, but he does land himself in a really good matchup versus Arrieta, who struggles with lefties. And this is probably one of the times I wouldn't mind spending up for him, as this is just a really good spot. Then Carlos Santana, 4,100. The Indians' prices took a big dip, and I don't think it's that deserved. I know Junis has been pitching well recently, but I just prefer the Indians' offense to Junis. Vegas would agree. They have an implied run total of, I think, over 5 at the moment. So I'm on the Indians train, and you're probably thinking, of course you're on the Indians train, because you always are, because I'm an Indians fan. But this is a good spot. Don't get me wrong. Although I will say Junis has not been terrible. But give me the lefties here. They're too cheap, way too cheap. They're kind of upside. And Indians are a much better team versus right-handed pitching. And then Jake Bauers, 3,200. He's pretty much the light version of Santana. He's not nearly as good, but he's super cheap, and he should be hitting 6th in the order. Then second base, Jason Kipnis, 3,300. That's 3 Indians in a row. Yeah, common theme here, just way too cheap facing a righty, and Kip gets the cleanup duties. So give me some Jason Kipnis tomorrow at 3,300. Then Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 4,900. So Yarborough is going to come in after the opener. Castillo and Gurriel has smashed lefties this season with a 369 ISO, and that's a very high number as well, but it's in the high 400s as well. So I don't mind Gurriel. And then Gleyber Torres at 4,900. It's the righties that actually have given Cashner the most trouble this season. In past seasons, it's been the lefties. He's had a really high fly ball rate, 2 lefties, and that's completely switched this season. So I want the righties, which is actually profiles better for the Yankees because they got a ton of righty power. That's pretty much all they are. So give me Gleyber Torres. He's Cashner is allowing a 238 ISO to righties compared to an 081 ISO to lefties, and I believe Torres has some good BVP versus Cashner as well. And then at third base, we got DJ LeMahieu at 5,400. He's going to be leading off as a righty versus Cashner, and the Yankees are one of the top options on the slate, but they are very expensive, but salary shouldn't be too much of an issue today, in my opinion. And also at third, we have Jose Ramirez at 4,200. He just broke the extra innings tie with a solo shot, which was nice. I played him in cash. He was pretty low owned. He had a pretty good game, so I was very happy with Jose Ramirez and did get them the win, because I'm watching MLB TV right now, and I just saw the score, so that's nice. And so he's cheaper than he was yesterday, and all the Indians are really just too cheap and facing a righty, which we prefer for Jose Ramirez. Then Hunter Dozier at 4,400. I've had him on the sheet 2 for 2 versus Plutko, and he's homered both. So I think this is another good spot for Dozier. versus as a reverse splits righty versus I'm looking at the wrong spot. Dozier, Plesac is not reverse splits, but Dozier is. Although Plesac isn't the best versus righties either, so maybe you could say he's a little bit reverse splits. But Dozier is smashing righties. He's got a 288 ISO versus them this season. And Plesac is giving up an ISO above 200 to righties, and he has a very low strikeout rate. So I don't mind Hunter Dozier again. And then at shortstop, Frankie Lindor, 4,700. He continues to have good games. I know he homered first pitch tonight. He had a pretty good game overall, over 20 points. And he just has Junis's number, as he's 12 for 24 with 3 homers off of him, a couple stolen bases as well. He's just too cheap leading off for the Tribe. And Glabber, we already talked about. Jorge Polanco, 4,500. He's a much better hitter from the left side of the plate, and I do have a lot of interest in the twin stack tomorrow. So he makes quite a bit of sense, and he's very affordable. And then in the high-end outfield, we got Aaron Judge at 5,500. That's bothering me. There we go, fixed it. Okay, so yeah, Aaron Judge. Yanks are one of the top stacks tonight, and they have a ton of righty power, which is Cashner's weakness. So just give me all the Yanks I can afford. I know I didn't have Edwin Encarnacion listed, but he's in play as well. The lefties are fine too, but I do prefer the righties. So, Aaron Hicks, Didi Gregorius, if you want to round out the whole stack, but I do prefer the righties quite a bit. Then Shohei Ohtani at 4,800. The Angels were a little disappointing last night. At least the last time I looked, it was only 4-4. So I think Trout was up when I started recording, so maybe he got his 28 points. But as of what I've seen, they've been a little disappointing. They're very heavily owned for good reason though. They had the highest implied run total of the slate, but I do think they're in a really good spot again versus who's pitching. Asher. It's a weird last name. He's actually not been too bad if you look at his numbers, but I do think these Angels are much better hitters than he is a pitcher. He's probably a little bit in over his head, and the O's bullpen is terrible. So actually, I do prefer the lefties versus him, but I don't mind the righties either, specifically Mike Trout. But Shohei Ohtani, he's actually a core play for me. He's one of my favorite plays of the slate. Then Mike Trout, just the best hitter in the baseball versus right-handed pitching. I know Asher's been pretty decent versus righties, but it's Mike Trout. So, and then in the mid-range outfield, we got Cole Calhoun. He's the light version of Ohtani, although he's not been bad this season. He's got over 20 homers, so I don't mind some Cole Calhoun. Asher is allowing a 325 ISO to lefties. And then the Twins outfield, they're all good spots. If you had Nelson Cruz, I know someone in our Slack chat had Nelson Cruz at 6%. He went triple dong, so I'm sure he had a pretty good night. I really wasn't on Cruz, but shout out to him, Julian, if you're watching this. And yeah, all in good spots. Like I said, Cease's been giving up more power to righties, so Cruz is in a pretty good spot again. Maybe go lower owned because the lefties will have higher ownership. But I think they're all in play. Kepler, Rosario. I think Kepler got a home run too. These Twins have just been going absolutely off the past few games. Is what they've been doing all year. They've been smashing home runs. So give me Kepler, Rosario, Cruz. If you're doing just GPP stacks for the Twins in tournaments, you could go Cruz, Kepler, Rosario, Polanco. That'd be a nice stack. Even Castro to round it out. And then JD at 4,500 facing a lefty. I know it's Paxton. I think his name has more value than what he actually is doing this season. He's not been that sharp, and he is allowing an ISO over 200 versus righties, and we know how good JD is versus lefties, so I don't mind taking a shot here at JD. Maybe you game stack this game. The Red Sox will be the lower owned going up against Paxton because of that name, but I do think the righties are in a good spot. And then in the value outfit, although if you are going to game stack the Red Sox and Yankees, what you're going to have to do is play Norris and Urquidy. So if that works out and you can hit on that Red Sox Yankees stack, that would be something. Although I don't feel safe about going Urquidy and Norris, but it's just something to think about. And then in the value outfield, we have Bowers, which I talked about, Justin Upton. Like I said, Asher's been pretty good versus righties, but these guys are much better hitters than he is a pitcher. He's just too cheap, in my opinion. He's been actually a lot better versus right-handed pitching this season. And then Castellanos at 4,100. He does have elite numbers versus left-handed pitching. He's got a 306 ISO and 471 WOBA. And Kikuchi is just not a good pitcher. He's someone I do like to pick on. Got a very low strikeout rate. Just not good overall. And then if we go to some of the core plays and top stacks, I do have the Greinke or Urquidy combo as my core pitching combo. And then I have Shohei Ohtani in the outfield. And then the top stacks for me are going to be the Angels, the Yankees, the Indians, the Twins, the Rays lefties and the Dodgers lefties. I know I don't have any Dodgers lefties listed because they're expensive. I do prefer other spots, but lefties have been giving Anibal Sanchez the most trouble, so I don't mind going with them as a lower owned GPP stack. And then the Rays lefties, like I said earlier. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for the video. If the audio sounded better, it's because I have a new microphone, so let me know if it did sound any better. I hope it did. If not, that was a waste. But I think it should have worked. So yeah, that's it for the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. I hope this video helped you out. I hope you played some Mariners last night. They did very well. And yeah, that's all I got. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I think the UFC sheet breakdown will be out tomorrow morning. And we actually did a podcast for the UFC fight coming up, which is our first podcast we did. So if you were interested in that and you have 40 minutes to kill, I'd recommend turning that on. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.